So in the last session, we discussed about what does it mean by Oracle Fusion Cloud Financials applications, right? Discussed what is the meaning of Oracle and application and Fusion, Finance and Cloud. And we discussed about what are the different options we have for the clients who are going to use the Fusion Cloud applications from Oracle. We have a SaaS, PaaS, IaaS. SaaS and PaaS we can get with the product applications. When you talk about IaaS, no product, it is just storage space. These are the points we discussed in the last session. Now, if you are going to use these applications for your client, what we get from Oracle, how we have to manage with those. So you are going to work for your client to implement Oracle Fusion Cloud financial applications. Then Oracle will provide the complete package access, which we call as instance, or you can call as pod. As per cloud applications, cloud we call as pod, or you can still call it as instance. What does it mean by instance? It's a copy of the software product. What are the applications we are going to implement for your client? The complete access they'll give us through instance, or you can call it as pod, like iPod. It's a pod where you can have all the applications as per our client subscription from Oracle. How many instances or how many pods we can get from Oracle? Okay, how many instances or how many pods we can get from Oracle? By default, every company will get 2 instances, or say 2 pods. Okay, only we can get 2, say instance, or you can call as a pod. What is the purpose? At the time of implementation, so we have to verify everything as per the business requirement, that product is supporting or not. We have to verify many things. We have to do the testing, etc. And a number of activities as per implementation. Now we should not get into all those, not required as of now. By default, Oracle provides 2 instances or 2 pods. One you can use for a testing purpose. You can say test instance or test pod. Other one is production. This production instance, in short, you can say prod instance. So if you are opting SaaS subscription or PaaS subscription, in both cases you'll get these 2 instances. So test instance we can use during the implementation. Once solution is finalized, we can keep production instance ready for client, so that client will start using this production instance. Client never use test instance. As a part of implementation, we use this test instance to test the business scenarios as per client and to verify the certain functionalities working as per client requirement or not. And we use this test instance for training purpose for the business users, and we use this for various activities, okay, during the implementation project. So, and even we will discuss about type of projects also, that let it be. So only simple point we have to understand is, by default we get 2 instances from Oracle. One is test, other one is production. Say you are going to implement PaaS subscription for your client. As a functional consultant, yes, there is no much difference between SaaS and PaaS. When you opt PaaS, you will have additional privileges to do the customizations. The same test instance technical people can use for development purpose also. Now the same instance you can use for testing purpose and development purpose. To do some customizations, you can use the same test instance. Or else, if you want to get additional instances, you have to pay to Oracle some extra amount, so that you can get how many instances you require. By default, every client will get only 2 instances. So simply you can name as a test instance and production instance. Along with the test instance, for customizations purpose, if you want to get one more instance, you can get one more that you may use for production purpose. Okay, this is a simple point to understand. Any questions on this, please? Okay, same instance you can use for development. Who can use for development purpose? Technical people. The development instance, in short, you can say dev instance. Dev instance means development. Prod instance means production. Test is test done. So this is what we have to understand. When you are working for any client, the instances what you get from Oracle, those are fresh instances. There won't be any sample data. So for which client you are going to do the implementation, or you are going to design the solution for which client, accordingly you have to do the required setups in these two instances. The two instances would be fresh instances. There won't be any sample data. So everything we have to start from the scratch. In our classes also, we'll see from where to start. When you are part of implementation project, take simple case, you are alone going to handle the entire financial, then what we should know, what is the sequence of activities we have to perform, where to start, how we can drive the complete configuration, etc. So everything we'll discuss in our classes. And what Oracle is doing is, Oracle is providing these, when you talk about client, Oracle is providing the two instances for their implementation. Along with that, Oracle is providing few other instances, not for client, for training purpose. Okay, for training purpose, Oracle is providing the instance. So in the training instance, Oracle is providing some sample data. In the sample data, there is a company which they are using as a vision. Okay, training purpose, Oracle is providing the instance, that is a training instance. Within the training instance, it's always good if they could provide some sample data. So that would be useful for the people who are learning to refer. So that is the reason what Oracle is doing is, Oracle is providing the sample data with a company called as vision. Since the instance is for training and sample data is available in that instance with a company name called as vision, that instance simply we call as vision instance. Okay, vision instance we never use for any companies. Vision instance always we use for training purpose, okay, or say some learning purpose. So when you are working for any company, you will come across these two instances only. The vision instance, yes, companies, Oracle can provide for any company or any just consulting companies, vendors are, clients are consulting companies, but that is just for learning purpose only we can use. Why we are calling this instance as a vision? Within this training instance, there is a sample data available. That sample data company name they used as a vision. That is the reason this we are calling as a vision instance. No client will use a vision instance for their to record their business transactions. Vision instance only for training purpose. Which instance client will use? Production instance to record their day-to-day business transaction. What is the purpose of the test instance? Test instance you can use to test the business scenarios before you finalize the solution into production instance. And development instance, if you are going to do some customizations as per business requirement, that too in the PaaS environment, you may need development instance, dev instance, or else you can use for testing and development purpose one instance only. This is how you can see landscape of the instances in the projects. Any questions on these points, please? Okay, no. So when you talk about vision instance, Oracle is providing the predefined users in the vision instance. When it comes to test or production instances, yes, Oracle will create one user for specific client and they'll provide, and we have to create our own users to start working on the instance as per our responsibility in the project. Say you are part of implementation project, your client got these two instances, then definitely they'll share those details to the consultants, and as a consultant we have to start working on those instances. Say you got that instance URL from your client, and client will provide the login credentials which they got from the Oracle. Now what we have to do? as a finance functional consultant or any functional consultant, ideally we have to create our own user. You can use user what Oracle is providing, but generally what we do is we can create our own user. Create user. It could be an instance, test, or you call as development or production instance. In any instance, you can create the user. How you can create the user? With the help of user which Oracle is providing. Whatever the user Oracle is providing, with that user you can log into the instance and you can create your own user. Okay, you created user. So what you can access within the instance? When you are going to work as a consultant, you need full privileges to the instance. You'll be able to do whatever is required as per implementation requirement, client requirement. So first step is you have to create the user. After creating the user, you have to give the permissions. You have to give the privileges to that user to do the implementation and to perform implementation related various activities. So that is the reason what we have to do is for that user we have to give the permissions. How we can give the permissions? With the roles concept. Okay. So to that user we have to assign the roles. Assign roles to users. We have to assign the roles to user. Roles will contain the privileges. Which user required access to which privileges, those you can provision, those you can provide to the user with the help of roles. If you are going to work as an implementation consultant, you have to do the various setups as per their business requirement. So that is the reason when you create the new user in the fresh instance, we have to assign the roles to that user. Those are minimum 2 roles. Minimum 2 roles we have to assign to the user so that you can start working as a consultant with the full privileges to entire instance. What are those roles? We'll see. The roles like application implementation consultant. The other role is IT security manager. Every user who is going to work as an implementation consultant required access to these 2 roles so that they'll have a full privileges to the instance to perform any sort of activities. So if you assign application implementation consultant role to one user, what that user can do? If you assign application implementation consultant role to one user, that user will get access to FSM. What does it mean by FSM? Okay, so FSM stands for, let me write here, FSM. FSM stands for Functional Setup Manager. We will discuss about it more detailed level. Now just look at the term. So if you assign application implementation consultant role to any user, with the help of this application implementation consultant role, that user can have access to FSM environment. Within the instance, the user can get connected to FSM. If user is going to get connected to FSM, with the help of FSM, what user can do? With the help of FSM, the user will be able to perform the setup, or you can call it configuration, or you can say user can do the implementation. You can call it setups or configuration or implementation. So you are going to implement one of the application called as accounts payable application. So how you can do? If you have access to FSM, then you can implement payables or receivables, take any application. To get access to FSM, we need access to application implementation consultant role. So that is the reason every consultant required access to application implementation consultant role so that we can get access to FSM, functional setup manager environment. From that place, you can do any application related setups or any sort of implementation you can do. So this is the point we have to notice. Then why IT security manager role also required for every user? Every user means the users who are going to involve in the implementation. The IT security manager role will allow if you assign IT security manager role to any user, that user can have access to the environment called as security console. Security console. If user can have access to security console, what that user can do? That user can create the new users. Let's say create new users. From security console only you can assign the roles to users. Assign roles to users. And if at all you require new roles as per your business, you can create the new roles which you call as custom roles. Okay. If you are not getting certain terminology, meaning and all, no need to worry about it. Just as introduction, you take the terms. Anyway, we are going to work on those detail level. Just make a note of these points. If you don't understand what does it mean by custom roles, no worries. We'll discuss what does it mean by custom roles. We will do that customization for the roles. We'll have a separate session on that. Complete one session we'll have on the custom role. So now we ignore it. You don't need to try to understand what is the meaning of it if you are not catching that. So this is the purpose of these two roles. Every consultant required access to application implementation consultant role to perform the setups, and IT security manager role access is required for every consultant to create new users and to assign the roles and to do the role customization. These are the basic points we have to understand when we talk about the user access as a consultant. So any questions on these points, please?
We are not doing the implementation, but we are just doing production support. What kind of access do we need as a functional consultant?
Same access. Same access. If you are going to do the support, okay, if anything wrong with the production instance, those most of the cases, those same things need to be tested because the production can be cloned. Entire production can be copied to test environment, or you may have one more instance to maintain the data which is available in the production as a replica of production. So yes, you need access to these two. Along with that, you are going to provide the support for which application? Say you are going to support payables application. Yes, the payable related roles also need to be assigned to your user. These are the roles which are required for consultants. When it comes to business transaction and all, the people who are working for payables department, the payable application related roles, we have separate roles. The same way receivables, we have separate roles. Same way for cash management, fixed assets. For each and every application, we have application specific roles. Those roles also we have to access along with these roles to fix that application related issues.
Okay, and another question, Lakshman. So when suppose we have a production issue, how often does the Oracle would refresh the instance for you? Like suppose in R12, we always have to request the DBAs, right?
I got it. I got your question. It's you have to request Oracle. Oracle doesn't have any schedules to clone or to perform certain activity. So anything you require, you have to pass to Oracle through SR, service request. You can raise a service request to Oracle. Based on request, they will take action. Yep. There are no predefined schedules to do kind of cloning, etc. We have to request. If required, then they'll wait. See, if it is EBS implementation, generally we will have a DBA as a part of our implementation or support team. You can talk to the DBA, applying the patches or cloning, etc. On our request, they'll do it. The same is applicable here. We don't have any DBA in our team. Always we have to depend on Oracle Cloud DBA team. Whatever the task we require from DBA, yes, we have to raise SR and they'll do it.
Now, is there a specific turnaround time for them? Like suppose if it's an urgent issue?
Okay. Urgent issue means just raise SR based on the severity, right? We'll mention the severity. That is a SEV 1, SEV 2, SEV 3. Okay, there will be the timelines for everything. Accordingly, they'll respond.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Any other questions on these points, please? Fine. So, no questions. The very first point is we have to create the user and we have to assign these two roles. These two roles are required for every consultant, and in the same way for every application we have a separate roles. AP, AR, GL, CM, FA, these are the different applications we discussed in the last session with the short names, right? So I think that information we have here. I'm referring the short names. AP, AR, CM, FA, GL. These are the core finance applications. AP means Oracle Fusion Accounts Payables. AR means Oracle Fusion Account Receivables. For every application, you have one business user who is working for the company. They need access to accounts payable application. They want to create the supplier invoices. They want to process the payments to suppliers. To get access to supplier invoice creation pages and payments, we have a payables AP related separate roles. If you are working as a consultant, if you are working as implementation or support consultant, if you get access to these two roles, with the help of these two roles, what we can do? You can do the setups, or else you can create the users, or you can assign the roles. But you cannot have access to payables or receivables to record the transactions or to verify the data. So application specific roles we have. These two roles are very common roles which are required to do the implementation. That's what we have to understand. Okay. Yeah. Now let's focus on FSM. Let's focus on FSM. What does it mean by FSM? Once we are clear about FSM in terms of theoretical understanding, we'll connect to the instance and we'll see how to create the user, how we can perform certain setups in the FSM. Let's pick FSM here. So when you talk about FSM, we just discussed FSM stands for Functional Setup Manager. When you look at the terms called as Functional Setup Manager, functional means whatever available, we deal with that product functionality. Okay, that is a functional, like the product functionality. The product functionality as per business requirement we can set up and we can manage also. That is the meaning of Functional Setup Manager. Within this FSM functional, with the help of Functional Setup Manager, we can do the setups. Which setup? Functional setups. Functional setups means what are the features are available, those setups. The same can be managed. That is nothing but Functional Setup Manager. So in this environment, we can do the setups. So before we go and do the setups, if you have a plan of managing those setups and setting the time, what is the time required to complete the setups, which resource, which consultant is going to work on which setups. Okay, if you want to manage all this information, what we have to do is first we have to create the implementation project. So what are the setups we are going to do in the system environment? If you want to manage all the setups, if you want to set the timeline for each and every setup, say you have a plan of completing the setups for accounts payable application within the 2 days. Okay, within the 2 days you want to complete payable setups, within 4 days you want to complete receivable setups, within 6 days you have to complete fixed asset setups, and again, who is going to work for payables, receivables, fixed assets? You want to set that information in the system, and you want to track what is the status of payables, whether payable setups are started or whether payable setups are in progress or payable setups are completed or not yet started. You want to track all these details. If you want to do all this, what all? Specifying the resource who is working for which application and updating the status, what is the status of the project. Okay, and assignments also. Assignments, updating and tracking the status. If you want to do all this, what you have to do is you have to create the implementation project. You have to, in the FSM, you have to create implementation project. Don't compare this implementation project with the real implementation projects. This project only for, when you say implementation project, this is for to manage the setups in the system environment. It's nowhere connected with actual project execution management or project lifecycle management. If you are aware of those terms, okay, try to find the difference. If you don't know what is a project lifecycle management, project execution management, you don't need to think about it. Not required. So Create implementation project. What purpose we are going to create implementation project in the system? To manage the setups. What are the setups we have to complete in the system? To manage those, we need implementation project. So don't connect this implementation project with we can track the cost, we can do the billing, or we can do various activities. No, not at all. You can just do the setups and you can update the status and you can track the progress of the setups in the system environment. That is the purpose why we use implementation project in the FSM as a part of Fusion applications. Fine. If you are going to create implementation project, you should know which applications we are going to implement. Okay, you should aware which applications we are going to implement. Say for example, these are the various applications. These are the different product families. We'll just take here to discuss. Okay, financials, HCM, SCM, projects we can call as PPM. And this you can say procurement. Okay, these are the different product families. Financial, set of applications which deals with the finance matters. HCM, set of applications which deals with employee related information and the business process, like HR application, payroll application, absence, talent. Okay, many applications are part of HCM. In the same way, SCM, supply chain management. HCM stands for human capital management. Human capital management, that is HCM. SCM means supply chain management, where you could see inventory, purchasing, order management applications as a part of this product family. When you say PPM, PPM stands for project portfolio management. If you are from EBS, we have a project suite. In EBS, the same we have here as a PPM. As a part of PPM, you can have applications like project costing, project billing, resource management, project management. Various applications we have as a part of PPM, all deals with the project, so that we have as a PPM as a separate product family. The same way procurement. Within the procurement, we can have a set of applications like purchasing application, self-service procurement, nothing but procurement, supplier portal, procurement contracts, etc. We can have that all together we call as procurement. And CRM, sales, marketing, etc. There are different applications as a part of CRM. These are not only this, there are a few other product families also. But when we are going to do the implementation, you should aware which product families we are going to implement for your client. Say when you are creating the implementation project, you have to select which product families we are going to implement for the client. Say you are going to implement financials. When you are creating the implementation project, you have to select the financials into implementation project to do the finance related setups. Say within the financials, we have a different applications we have. That already we discussed the 4 applications like GL, General Ledger, AP, Accounts Payables, AR, Accounts Receivables, CM, Cash Management, FA, Fixed Assets. These are the different applications we have. And when we are going to deal with FSM, Function Setup Manager, we should understand which product families we have to select to do the implementation as per client requirement. Again, each and every product families we have a set of applications. Which applications we are going to implement from which product family, that we should aware. If you are very sure what you are going to implement for your client, then you can create implementation project by selecting the same into implementation project. As per FSM, these product families we call as offerings. We don't call in the Fusion these are the product families. The term Oracle given as an offering. Okay, financials is one of the offering. In the same way, HCM, SCM, procurement, PPM, all we call as offering. As per FSM, these product families we are calling as offerings. These all are different offerings. If you are calling product families or offerings, what about the applications inside of the product family? These we call as option. Okay, these we call as option. This is all we call as different options. So this is the terminology we should aware when you are dealing with FSM. When we are going to do the implementation for your client, what is the scope of the implementation? Which applications we are going to implement, we should aware. And accordingly, we have to select which offering we are going to implement within that offering, whether we are going to implement all the options or specific. Say for example, you are going to do the implementation for one of your client business requirement more focused on the payables and receivables process. You may not implement fixed assets application. If you want to implement financial application, GL, general ledger application is mandatory. Without general ledger, you cannot use finance any one of the application. So this is a point we have to notice. So by default, you could see all the offerings and options within the instance. But if you want to do the implementation for any offering or option, what we have to do is first we have to enable the offerings and options. So when you are working for your client in the fresh instance, when you get access to the instance, the very first step is create user by assigning the two roles. The next step is enable offerings and options as per your project scope. So enable offerings and options. Enable offerings and options. Once offerings and options are enabled, when you are creating the implementation project, you can select the same. If you don't enable at the time of implementation project creation, you don't find any offering or option. If you don't find any offerings or options, you cannot do any setups. So that is the reason the very first step is we have to enable the offerings and options. Then you can create the implementation project. Whenever you create the implementation project, system will create the task list. When you create, how we create the implementation project? By selecting required offerings and options. Whenever you create implementation project, system would create task list. I'll continue with the discussion maybe for 5 more or 10 more minutes. After that, you can post your questions. So system creates task list. What does it mean by task list? Say for example, at the time of implementation project creation, I selected financials offering, and within the financial offering, I selected again these 3 options. Now automatically system will create the task list. Task list means the list of setups which are related to these 3 applications, 3 options. Say you enabled offering, you selected financial offering and you selected only AP option. Then system will create the task list for only AP. That means to implement AP application, what setups we have to complete, that all system will create into our project, so that from our project we can complete the setups whatever we want to implement. Task list is nothing but list of setups. List of setups system will create so that you can perform those setups. The very first point is we have to enable offerings and options. The second point is we have to create implementation project by selecting the offerings and options. Which offerings and options you can select, which offerings and options are already enabled, those only you can select, otherwise no. So the moment you create implementation project, so we have to complete the setups. Those all setups system would create into your implementation project automatically. If you select financials and HCM, system would create the task list for financials and HCM. So that's how system will create the task list. Then what we can do, since we have implementation project, we can assign specific offering and options to team members. Say for finance, we have only one resource. For financials offering, you can assign to one resource. Or else for finance, we have a 3 resource. So GL and AP you may assign to one resource. AR and CM you can assign to one resource. FA you can assign to different resource. Those assignments also you can do within the system only. As a part of implementation project, we got that flexibility. For entire financials who is going to work, or else for AP who is going to work. That sort of assignments we can do. So within the FSM, what we can do, we can assign specific offering or particular options to team members. You can say assign offerings or options to team members. Not only offerings and options. Say for example, within the accounts payables, say we have a 20 setups to implement accounts payable application. So in 20 setups, 10 setups you can assign to one resource, remaining 10 to another resource you can assign. That sort of flexibility we have, whatever it may be. You may assign entire offering to one resource, or within that one offering, what are the different options you have, you can assign to one or multiple. Otherwise, within that one option, list of setups, okay, maybe 10 or 5 you can assign to one resource, or else only one setup also you can assign to one resource. So that's how you can do the assignments. If you do the assignment, what is the advantage? Since we are doing these assignments in the project, if anybody is going to look at that project, easily they can understand. They don't need to get information from outside. By seeing the project, they can understand, okay, for financials, so-and-so resource is working, for HCM, so-and-so resource is working. So that's how we can do the assignments. And whenever these team members are going to work on this implementation, they can update the status. Okay, the resource means consultants. Resource can update the status. What status they can update? Say whether financials setups are started in the system or not, they can update. Like not yet started, in progress. In progress, if anybody look at that implementation project, they can understand, okay, finance setups are in progress, somebody is working on it. Who is working? You can see the name. You can update the status. Once setups are done, you can update the status as completed also. That's how you can have a communication, okay, offline communication also, when somebody is going to look at the project. So that's how that resource can update the status, so that we can track the progress of the project. Okay, we'll be able to track the progress of the project. Okay, how many setups are completed, how many are pending. So the complete information you can get with the help of implementation project, which we create in the functional setup manager. Without implementation project also you can do the setup. Okay, without implementation project also you can do the setups. Here you can take, so we can do the setups. Accordingly, resource can update the status, which setups are complete, which are pending, all that updates they can give against the same. So these are all you can do as a part of functional setup manager. You can create implementation project. If you create implementation project, then only system will create the task list. You can assign to the team members. Okay, and you can update, you can track the status of the project. You can say resource will update the status against the implementation project activity, so that we can track progress of the project. Okay, we can track the progress of the project. So this is what we have to understand. And one more important point, say for example, you completed setups in the test instance. The same setups we require in the production also. That means you want to copy or you want to move the setups from test instance to production instance. Instead of doing once again in the production, what are the setups are ready in the test, you want to move into production. So if that is a requirement, you should have implementation project to move the setups from one instance to another instance. That you can do by using the concept called as configuration packages. Configuration packages. By using the configuration packages, you can move the setups from one instance to other instance if you have an implementation project. Without creating implementation project also you can do the setups. Okay, without implementation project also you can do the setups, but if you have implementation project, what is the advantage? You will be able to assign offerings or options to the team members. They can update the status and you can track the progress of the project, and again you can move the setups from one instance to another instance. Even you can generate the reports also in FSM. The progress of the setup related reports also you can generate, and with the help of FSM you can complete the setups with the spreadsheets also, that we call as a rapid implementation. Anyway, that is separate concept. We'll see that later. These are the points you have to understand related to FSM. Any questions on these points, please?
So Lakshman, according to your experience, is the implementation project most commonly used?
Yeah, always we create implementation project and we start doing the setups. If you create implementation project, there are few additional advantages also. Those we will see directly in the system. If we discuss now, it may not be complete information for a few guys at least. So that is the reason we will see when we are working on it. Implementation project is always value addition, no doubt. You can do the assignments, resource can update the status, you can progress, you can copy the complete status from one to other instance, and it would simplify the consultant related tasks when they are doing the setups. How that is, we will see in the system only.
So even without implementation project, we can still use the configuration packages, right?
You cannot. Configuration package you can use when you have implementation project only. Okay, if you do the setups through implementation project, those all setups will be tagged into implementation project so that you can copy. Without implementation project, if you do the setups, then you setups on second. Please go on mute. So you did create implementation project but you completed all the setup. That is possible. Now you want to move the setups from one instance to other instance. In that case, what is the alternative option? Even you created setups without implementation project, since you are planning to move the setups from one to other instance, at least create implementation project now. Create implementation project and tag the setups into that implementation project. Then you will be able to move the setups from one to other instance. How to tag, etc. That we'll see in the classes. Any questions?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
What is included in configuration packages?
It will extract the setups. It will generate the setup file. You can download that file in one instance from one instance. The same file you can upload in the targeted instance, so that as per the file, what are the setups are captured from one instance, those all will be automatically created in the target instance. System
Okay, thank you.
package, we can create the setup related data files. That's all. With tagging.
Yeah, Lakshman, whatever you're explaining from row number 90 to 97 are part of the FSM, right?
Yes, right from beginning here, 90 onwards. Enabling, offering on the options we'll do in FSM only. Implementation project we create in the FSM only. Here, whatever we are discussing, all within the FSM.
So FSM is part of the application implementation consultant role, or it's a separate role?
Yeah, correct. The same we discussed here. If you assign application implementation consultant role to any user, that user will get access to FSM. That means this role will give the access to FSM. Yep. That is a part of the role. FSM, you can access to FSM because of application implementation consultant role.
So what is the difference between resource can update the status and track progress of the project? Both are same.
No.
So whatever you assign to the resource, they update the status.
There are 5 resources. Yeah. Take simple example. They can update the status. You are working for accounts payables, AP. You can update. You started working on the AP. You can update the status as a in progress. AP is in progress. Entire AP. You completed 10 setup. You can update the status as a completed. Then other resource is working for AR. They can update the status as a not yet started. The GL, they updated status. In the same way, there could be other offerings also. It's CM, SCM, PPM. However, what is the current progress of the project, accordingly they can update what they are doing. When the resource are setting up the status, I can see overall picture of the project progress. Total how many tasks we have for entire project, maybe 2000, 3000. Finance, how many setups are complete, how many are pending, how many are in progress, how many not in started, how many resources are working for the project, which resource tasks are overdue. Say when you are, we can set the due date also. If I'm assigning the AP related setups to you, I can set you have to complete within 2 days. If the setups are not completed, I can track the progress. At that time I can see how many setups are overdue. This all we can see. Okay, updating the status, if you update, then that will come into tracking. Simple point. Say you are entering the transactions in the system. If you want to see all the transactions, you have to run the report. If you run the report, you could see all the information. But when you are entering, you will do one by one. When you run the report, you can see complete data in one go. That's how your resource can update the status as per their responsibility of setups, and project level overall performance of the project you can see where it is standing.
Yeah, this is like additional feature Oracle is giving to track the status of the project, right?
Yes,
Only as a like in the dashboard it displays.
correct.
Automatically displays. Okay.
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what in case if I go for the like PaaS and I do some customization, which is not actually part of the Oracle standard implementation, that is also will be tracked here
Yeah.
for status.
See, what happens is you did customization. Say you added 2 new features in the accounts payables application. So when you are doing
Yes.
implementation, you will select accounts payables as a one of the option to your implementation project. So what are the new features you are implementing? Those you have to register, and those you have to include into AP. So those all
Okay.
will be part of your project. That may be standard features, standard product, or custom. Everything you can include into project because you have to do the setups.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions?
So Lakshman, for configuration packages, is it something a functional consultant can move to one instance to another, or we have to contact Oracle for that?
Correct, correct. Only functional consultant can do it. We don't need Oracle support or technical support. It's a very simple action. You have to select your project. You can say create configuration package. In few minutes, system will create the file. Just you have to download. Then you have to go to targeted instance, upload the file. Your setups will be ready in the new instance. That's it. You can do everything in the minutes.
Thank you.
Yep. Thanks.
Hi, Lakshman. Pratap here. While creating this configuration package file, do we have an option what to migrate, what not to migrate? For example,
Yes.
I want to
Yes.
migrate only.
Yes.
Okay.
But not summary level. Say I have an implementation project where I selected financials, HCM and SCM. When I'm going to do this configuration package creation, I cannot select. I need only financials, I need only HCM. Since everything is part of that implementation project, everything you have to migrate. But specific setups you can disable. Okay. Say for example, from finance, HCM, SCM, you have 1,000 tasks, 1,000 setups. So which setup related data you don't want to extract, you can disable those so that the configuration package won't pick setup data into that file. But you don't have option to say, I don't need SCM from this project, I don't need AP from this project. Offerings and options level, you cannot set a condition or rule, but specific setup wise, you can say yes or no. By default, system would select all. If you don't want to get certain setup data into that configuration file, you can disable them. So system won't pick.
Okay. Thank you. Got it.
Thanks. Any other questions here? Okay, no questions. Now the question is, how many implementation projects? Yeah, please.
Yeah, Lakshman, to do this configuration package, we need to have 2 instances. As part of training, can we have 2 instances?
Yeah. See, 2 instances. Yes, if you want to move the setups, if you want to understand how to do that, what you can do is you can just create configuration package in the same instance. How that can be loaded, you can just take a trial in that. But reality, whatever you're extracting from the same instance, the same if you try to load in the same instance, the file will fail, saying that these all setups are already available because you are extracting. You can understand the process. Yes, if you want to test this, yes, I'll provide one more instance, not an issue. Yes, 2 instances are required.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Lakshman, is it not like, can we create a new project, for example, a new implementation project, and create a new ledger and new stuff that won't be helpful, copying down to a new set of setups?
Yeah, that how you are planning, that is matter. See, sometimes you may want to copy, sometimes you may think no need to copy. When you copy, if something is going to miss, everything will become mess. So you may think like that. That might be your experience in one of the project. You may plan to create everything from the scratch, since you think it doesn't take much time. Okay, it's not like mandatory.
I mean, just for the practice.
Hmm.
I'm just asking the question about the configuration package. If at all we just want to try one time, can we copy the implementation project, create a brand new one with a different name, and can we upload there the setup data file and see how it works?
No, when you say configuration package creation, it is nothing but copying the project only. Instead of calling it as a copy project, we are calling it as a configuration package.
Okay.
It would be created as.
So we cannot rename or anything while loading it. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Yes. Right. Any other questions?
So creation of this implementation project is mandatory, right, for the migration of setups?
Yeah, migration of the setups, implementation project is mandatory. Just to complete the setups, implementation project is not mandatory. Correct.
Okay.
Does Oracle has any
project
other way of copying
the setups?
Or they?
Please go ahead.
Sorry, does Oracle has any other way of copying over to instance like a traditional cloning or?
Yes, that is always possible. Okay, you can talk to the DBA. Okay, you can talk to the DBA. You can ask the DBA, please clone this instance data to some new instance. They can do that. But what is
a service request?
Yeah, when you talk about configuration package, what we have to understand here, only setup data can be copied, not transactional data. You completed AB setups, AR setups, cash management, fixed asset, general ledger related setups, and you tested. You created few invoices and payables, few payments and payables. Here you created. Please go on mute. Okay, you just created few transaction receivables, you created few assets in the fixed assets, you tested, everything is working fine. That means your setups are good enough, whatever you have. The same setups you need in the other instance. In that case, you can use the configuration package. What configuration package will do, it will copy only setup related data. It won't copy any transactional data. And if you talk about cloning, yes, through cloning also you have a different option. You can talk to the DBA to copy the only setups, or to copy the setups and do transactional data and something else, some selective setups or data, you can talk with it.
Oh, it's possible, even splitting that.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Any other?
In the
EBS Laxman, this DBA cloning that you've just mentioned, will that be by Oracle?
No, by us. Our cloning activity can be done by Oracle Cloud DBA team, but this configuration package activity can be done by us.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand the configuration package part of it. What I'm asking is, when you say you have the cloning, you just mentioned the instance of cloning that you require a DBA. When you require a DBA for cloning, will that, because it's a SaaS environment, do you have to go to Oracle for that?
Exactly. It could be SaaS or PaaS, doesn't matter. If you want to clone, you have to raise SR, service request to Oracle. Then DBS, Cloud DBS will come into picture to help us.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, please. Any questions?
So, Lakshman,
yes, Lakshman, Vikram.
Yeah.
Vikram.
So we have already talked about the configuration packages. Now, in case during the implementation, if there is any open invoices that needs to be moved from another instance, another ERP to cloud,
Yeah,
could that be done through the front end as well?
correct. That job we can done being a functional consultant. Okay, for that we have a, since you raised that question, I am just giving the note, otherwise now it is not at all required. We have FBDA templates. By using these templates, you can handle the entire conversion process. FBDA, file-based data, file-based data import. Okay, file-based data import. By using FBDA templates, you can handle the data conversions. That could be master data, transactional data. In our classes, we are going to see everything. I'll just cover master data, transactional data for GL, AP, FA, wherever it is applicable. I'll take you through. Yeah. That is also can be done by functional resource in Fusion, which is completely technical job in EBS.
Okay, and it'll pass through all the validation and then get it into the tables. It'll follow the whole process internally.
Yeah. If you don't mind, those we'll see when we are working on it. Because
Thank you.
if I start answering, I have to talk. I have to bring many points into discussion. Yeah. Let me answer in simple way that Oracle is providing the predefined templates to handle these conversions. Those templates are validated templates. They kept certain validations within the template itself. That's how we have. Fine. Any other questions?
Thank you, Lakshman.
Yeah, thanks.
Yes, Lakshman, Vikram.
Yeah, Vikram.
For functional consultant, DBA knowledge is required or
no, not at
any
all.
level?
No. We don't require any DBA knowledge, DBA related knowledge or technical knowledge. So the functional people, yes, functional knowledge is more there. Any other questions? Okay, seems to no questions. Fine. Now we'll see how many implementation projects we have to create. Say you are doing the implementation for one of your client. Now the question is how many implementation projects we have to create. So one would be enough for one client for one country. Okay, you are doing the implementation for your client, and the implementation you are going to do for 4 countries. You can create only one for one country, or else for 4 countries you can create one implementation project. Anyway, we do the setups which are required for each and every country. Okay, but very the general practice is for each country we create separate implementation project. Client is same. They're operating the business in multiple countries. To manage setups without any confusion, country specific implementation projects we create. Otherwise what happens is if you create one implementation project, now you may do the setups for India, and today or tomorrow again you want to do the setups for US. By mistake, since project is the same, instead of doing the setups for India, by mistake you may do for US, because you are doing every setups in the same project. So that will create some sort of confusion. To avoid that sort of confusion, the best practice is create country specific projects. Country specific projects so that everything will go smooth with respect to setups what we do for specific country related implementation or maintenance later on. This is the point we have to understand. Any questions here, please?
If you have multiple ledger scenario, is it recommended to
Doesn't
go with
matter. I'm not talking
country?
about anything, how many inside country.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions? No questions. So in tomorrow's session, what we'll do is we'll see how to create the user to do the implementation, how to assign these roles, and how to enable the offerings and options, how to create the implementation project. We'll see how system would create the task list automatically, how these offerings or options can be assigned to team members. When we start doing the setups, how we can update the status of the project from resource, how that can be tracked, we'll see. Configuration package we'll see later, maybe after few days or maybe after 1 month, because we have to complete the setups to understand this. So that we'll see later. Tomorrow session, this would be the agenda. We'll see user creation, roles assignment, enabling offerings and options. We'll go through FSM, what other points we have to understand. This all we'll do in the tomorrow on the instance. Okay. So we can say like we done for today. If you have any questions, you can stay back. We can discuss. If you don't have any questions, you can drop from one second. Let me complete.
Laxman,
1 second.
Laxman, you did not give the implementation consultant employee role.
Not required. Not required. The why that is required, when it is required, I will cover. But to work as a consultant, not required.
Okay.
In the older versions, it was required. In the latest version.
Sorry, say again.
In older versions.
Okay.
They made it as mandatory. Further, there is one reason also. That also I'll cover once we get into instance. If I'll cover that point. If you think it is missing, you can raise that. I'll touch that. Yep. Fine. We're done for today. If you have any questions, you can stay back. We will discuss. Otherwise, we're done for today. You can drop from the meeting. Thank you all. Any questions, please? Any questions from anyone, please? Okay.
Lakshman,
please.
Typically, with the rapid implementation approach, do we have any Oracle provided questionnaires for the requirements gathering, like you used to have AIM-BR 20 kind of templates available?
No predefined questionnaires to gather the information. So ideally, we have to prepare that questionnaire. See, whatever used in EBS, the same you can use, because product is going to be same. The flavor they changed, that's all. So you can use EBS questionnaires. Otherwise, see, if you are experienced, if you are talking with the payables department team, you know very well. Simply you can ask how many suppliers we have, how many suppliers are domestic, how many are foreign suppliers, how many daily transactions you record as invoices, how many daily payments, okay, the volume, and how many are foreign currency invoices, how many are functional currency. These and all you can discuss. Okay, gather the information. If you are very new in implementation, definitely you may have to depend on questionnaires. Anyway, when you are to some consulting company as a practice, they'll maintain the repository, right? The questionnaires, etc. Easily you can get from them, or else you can get from other co-workers. That's how you can manage.
Yeah, only why I'm asking this question is that because lately with the rapid implementation cycles, the implementation time has gone down, right, compared to traditional ERP.
Correct. See, the rapid implementation in the fusion, the rapid implementation approach, what we have, it will just help us a lot, and it will, I mean, of course, those we have to see to understand detail level. Simple point is, instead of doing the setups through manual process, with the rapid implementation, you can automate the setups. Just you can put the data in the spreadsheet, that it will create setups based on which rapid implementation sheet we are using. In our classes, we are going to cover that.
Okay. Then I will wait for that.
We'll go with the two approaches. First of all, for sure, you have to understand how to do everything through manual process. If you go direct to implementation, somewhere if something goes wrong, you cannot manage that. You cannot handle it. That is the reason first the manual process, so that you will be very much comfortable, come to know each and everything. Then on top of it, how to do the same in the very easiest way, that is rapid implementation. We'll work on it.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah, hi, Lakshman.
Yeah.
Yes. So while covering the topic, so can you please, if whatever the topic you're covering, it's too important for any interview questions and all, can you highlight it? What can be the questions and like that?
What we'll do is, at least after completing maybe the course 15% or 10%, we will we can have one session if required.
Okay.
Okay. See, the point is, concept is new. Again, questions and answers means it will become the big thing, right? So first,
Yeah, because we don't have the documents, right, to refer. Whenever you tell us it might be important and this might be the question, we'll take a note on that.
yeah, for that we'll
That's
spend time. We will have a session on that. See, let's complete the accounts payable application. I'll just we'll have a session to discuss what sort of questions you can expect. Say, for example, you are going to try for job with this with 3 years, 2 years, 4 years, 5 years as or a fresher. What sort of questions you can expect with what amount of experience? This is how we'll have a separate session, so that would be good information. By the time you'll be very much comfortable with the content. Even if I'm going to ask the question, whether what level you are standing, you can understand. Now I can give the question, but properly you cannot get ready to answer to that. Just question only you can get, very raw question you can get. That is the reason. Let's complete some piece of this course, then we'll have a session to discuss about questions. By that time you'll be able to ready with the answers also. You'll feel more comfortable, then we can discuss, we can dig and we can discuss if required related to that.
okay.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks. Any other questions?
Lakshman, is the service request for Oracle in the cloud is same as what normally we do it in release 12?
As it is. No difference.
Yeah, I think only thing is it could be much faster, right, Lakshman, because otherwise we are depending on them much more than before. Earlier, SRs only we have a problem, we create them, but now many small things we have to depend on Oracle, right? So they have increased the pace of.
No, there is no difference. There is no difference. We'll go to global support, or in PaaS we call as metallic, right? We'll go to same and we'll just input all the data, and just when you select the product which is related to Fusion, that would be routed to cloud team.
Okay.
If it is EBS, it will goes to EBS global support team. That's it. That work they manage. We don't do the way how you register the SR to get some support from Oracle. It could be EBS or Fusion or some other Oracle product, process same.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
So Lakshman, if there are any issues or patches, does Oracle will apply those patches by themselves, or we have to tell them that there are issues? Can you please help to apply the patch, or they figure out how we do it in release 12?
Yes. Because they cannot come to know when you are working. You have some issue in the payables. Oracle won't keep eye on what you are doing, right? Just you are using. If you have some issue, you have to talk to Oracle. Say you come across some issue and you identified Oracle is recommending some patch application for this sort of issues. Then you have to contact Oracle DB. Just you have to write SR saying that, so we are doing so and so, this is the issue we are facing, this is identified as a bug, okay, and we request to apply the patch on the test instance first, and they'll apply, will verify if it's working fine, then they'll apply the patch on the production. That's it. Same, only the difference is in case of EBS traditional implementation, we'll have our DBA in our team, but here DBA from Oracle, how the communication takes place, how things are managed in case of EBS, same we can find in the Fusion, but he is not from our team. That is only the difference. The DBA is not from our team. That's only the difference. Patch application.
So even if, sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Any patch application, yes, contact DBA. Any cloning, contact DBA. Any other DBA activity, contact DBA through SR. That's it.
So if there is a data corruption in any of the instance, they will provide the script and they will run the script themselves.
Yes, exactly. Because here we cannot get the complete control. In case of EBS, most of the implementation are on-premise, right? So there everything we can control and all, but here the control will be Oracle DBA. Even one example I'll tell you. If you want to print certain documents, maybe your payables, payment related checks or receivables, bills, if you want to print also, you cannot set up, or say you cannot configure the printer also. You have to write SR to Oracle. They'll ask certain inputs about your printer. They will configure, you can use. That's how it works.
Do you think there is a delay in the overall process? Because once if it's in-house, then you can do a lot of things by yourself, troubleshoot, and rather than depending on Oracle, or is it much faster than release 12's issues or the turnaround times?
See, the point is, when you have to depend on other resource, it doesn't make any big difference the resource in your team or Oracle team. Okay. So again, there is no many activities where we have to depend. Simply printer related and some DB activities only. Rest everything, Oracle is giving the complete control. They are not saying, hey, if you want to create one new user, please raise SR. Okay, they are not saying that. If you want to assign the roles, please talk to our DBA team. No, whatever ideally we required, where we should have a complete control, they are giving. Very few things. Okay, very few things which are very sensitive. Those things they took into their control, and those never delay our process and all. There will be quick response, no doubt in, because DBA task and all. In other cases, EBS anyway will have our DBA, which cannot be done by our DBA, which is bug, etc. There, if you are going to contact Oracle DBA team, that's a different story. But here, the core DBA task we have to depend on Oracle only. The experience would be good when you are talking with the Oracle DBA team. No doubt in that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Lakshman, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Any questions, please? Fine. Seems to no question.
Yeah, Lakshman.
Please.
Yeah, Lakshman.
Yep.
Which platform most clients are using? PaaS or SaaS?
SaaS only. SaaS. Okay. If you look at 10 implementations, you may not find one PaaS also. If you look at 100 implementations, cloud implementation, maybe 5-6 PaaS you could find, rest of all are SaaS only. That is the
data security achieved in SaaS.
Yeah.
How the client trusts data security?
Very advanced security metrics Oracle is following. The best example is there are many financial institutions are started using Oracle Fusion Cloud applications, banks and all. So then you can think about what level of data security Oracle is taking care of. The disaster recovery, etc. Everything Oracle will take care. Still, few clients has their own concerns. No one can convince them. Okay, now you could see not only other enterprise applications we have to are on the cloud only.
Lakshman.
Yeah.
This is kind of a separate thing. What would happen with the legacy data we have in the R12 system? Means because earlier we were having that DBA help to migrate from one instance to another. So transactional data I'm talking.
I got your question. When we are going to implement Fusion applications, you have to treat your EBS as a third party only. You should not think this is EBS, this is Fusion, there is some channel. No, you have to treat completely EBS as a third party application. When you have a data in the third party application, when we move the data into EBS application, what approach you follow, the same you have to follow, but here the process they simplified. That can be done by functional people. So to move the data from EBS to Fusion, we can use the FBDA templates. So there is no difference. There is no migration from, it's all about upgrade. There is no upgrade from EBS to Fusion as of now. In future, it may come up, but as of now, if you are a EBS client, if you want to use Fusion application, you have to do the re-implementation. That's it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Any questions?
Hello, Laxman. So who covers disaster recovery in Fusion?
Oracle will take care of.
Okay.
That's what. No technical team we require from our end to manage server, etc., etc. Just will subscribe and will use. Rest Oracle will take care. Any questions, please? Okay, seems to no questions. That's all for today. We'll connect tomorrow same time. Thank you all. Have a good day and good night.